Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Thursday. Hope you all had a happy and safe Halloween last night.
It was a fun holiday. The weather was really nice.
We had a good show in the back. And
that was fun.
You had lots of kids at your house?
We did. Probably about between like 50 and 75 kids.
But you got it all decorated.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
You're you're like a magnet.
I love the holidays, so I was all lit up, but it was really a fun night.
And now it's November.
Happy November.
Wow, where does the time go?
Yeah.
And here's what's making news on this November 1st. Strong disagreement today from the two candidates for governor on coverage for pre-existing conditions.
Michael Johnson is leaving Cincinnati and returning to Madison to return to his job as CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County.
And Google employees around the globe walked off the job today. We'll find out what they're demanding. Let's
take a look outside today. Mostly cloudy, but continued mild for November.
Yeah, not bad for this time of year. Here's a Sky 3 is up in the air. This is rural Dane County, just near Verona. Oh, and there's the weather words. I put the weather words in. Dana?
Yes.
What are the weather words?
It's a little chilly.
Choice today.
What are they?
Just a little chilly for us today. Whether that is you need a little extra side of chilly or if you're stepping outside where it is just a little chilly for us currently. But yes, overall mild to start off our November. Looking at our Doppler track, we didn't have any sort of rain showers for us today, which was nice for anyone who was trying to take down the Halloween decorations that they may have had up, of course, over the last month. We're currently sitting close to 48 in Madison, about 50 in Janesville and in Mineral Point. So a cool evening and quite a drop in the last 24 hours. Halloween was perfect today, just a little cooler outside. An 8-degree drop for us in Monroe and in Madison in the last 24 hours. Our wind coming from the northeast in the single digits for much of the area, close to 10 miles per hour for us in Madison. You can certainly notice that if you're stepping outside, a bit of a chill in the air with that breeze. Tomorrow we're looking at cloud coverage yet again for Friday and another cool day as temps will yet again be in the upper 40s for our afternoon highs. So keep that in mind as you're heading out the door for your evening plans or for your Friday plans. You'll definitely need the jacket for both. Looking ahead to our traffic update for First Alert Traffic Check. Right now looking at 12 at Rimrock Road. Things seem to be rolling along quite smoothly right now for a Wednesday or Thursday drive home. Along the Beltline, speeds actually look pretty okay for us right now. Eastbound 55 miles per hour just east of John Nolan Drive and just west of John Nolan Drive about 57 miles per hour. So cruising along down near Verona, a little bit of a slowdown along Main Street. 151 there seems to be going okay. University Avenue to Verona Road will take you 7 minutes. Verona Road to John Nolan about 5. Then John Nolan 239 just 4 minutes. A lot of green there, which is always good news. We'll keep a close eye, of course, on the traffic updates, and we'll take a closer look at what's ahead for this weekend in just a few minutes.
It's always encouraging. You can be without a jacket on November 1st in the backyard.
Nice. All right. And in a sleeveless dress.
And a sleeveless dress.
I
have a few goosebumps, but it's okay.
All right. We'll see you in a few minutes, Dana. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, the battle over protections for pre-existing conditions continues today in Wisconsin. Governor Walker is explaining a bit more today about how he would guarantee that coverage, something Tony Evers' campaign is calling a desperate lie. Rose Schmidt is here with what you need to know with just 5 days until we head to the polls.
That's exactly right. And we know that healthcare is the top issue on voters' minds heading into next week's election. That's according to new poll results yesterday from Marquette Law School. At a campaign event today in Waukesha, Governor Walker, a longtime opponent of the federal Affordable Care Act, says he wants to enact the same language that's in the Affordable Care Act that provides protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Evers is telling voters not to believe that Walker really means that because Wisconsin is currently involved in a lawsuit to repeal the Affordable Care Act, and that's an authorization Walker made.
No matter what happens in the courts or in the Congress in Wisconsin, we will codify that, the exact same language that's in the Affordable Care Act. We'll make sure that everyone living with a pre-existing condition is covered here in the state.
People in Wisconsin know this is just a typical politician, Scott Walker, doing and saying one thing and doing completely the opposite.
The federal government has also approved a waiver requiring people in Wisconsin who are on Medicaid to work. And this is a proposal Walker championed, and today he said it will help break down barriers to welfare and get more able-bodied adults working. But Evers told me Walker is diverting attention from the issues that matter. If elected, Evers plans to accept the federal Medicaid expansion money that Walker has previously turned down. The new poll results yesterday show that Walker and Evers cannot get much closer in this race. They were tied with 47% of the vote each.
And we'll talk with Charles Franklin, the director of the poll, coming up in this program today. 5 days.
5 days. Can you believe it?
Who's counting? Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Rose. The midterm elections, as they just said, are 5 days away. Both parties are pulling out all the stops, hoping for major upsets. Mola Lenghi has the latest from Washington.
President Trump is heading to Missouri later today to campaign for Republican Josh Hawley, who's locked in a fierce battle to unseat Democratic incumbent Senator Claire McCaskill. In a Christian Network interview, Mr. Trump predicted that Democrats will fail on Tuesday.
Well, I think the blue wave is dead, frankly, and I think we're doing very well. It looks like we're going to win the Senate, which is very important.
The president called Democrats weak on border security during a rally in Florida Wednesday night.
But we're getting prepared for the caravan, folks. You don't have to worry about that. And they got a lot of rough people in those caravans. They are not angels. They are not.
While Republicans are making immigration the main issue to drive voters to the polls next week, Democrats are focused on health care.
And the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where the character of the country is on the ballot.
In a final push to turn out his base ahead of Election Day, Mr. Trump plans to hold 10 rallies in 8 states where races are neck and neck, hoping his star power will propel Republicans to victory. Mola Lenghi, WISC News 3.
Oprah Winfrey jumped into the midterm elections today, saying that she wanted to be part of the historic campaign. Winfrey campaigned for Stacey Abrams, the Democratic candidate in Georgia's governor's race. Winfrey stressed that she is a registered independent and was not asked nor paid to campaign for Abrams. Stacey Abrams is vying to become the nation's first black female governor. Winfrey has been a part-time contributor for the CBS News program 60 Minutes, but she has stepped away from that role while she campaigns. Vice President Mike Pence will campaign for Abrams' Republican opponent in Georgia, Brian Kemp. The Georgia's governor's race has gained national attention because, like here in Wisconsin, the polls show the race is virtually tied.
Dodge County authorities are investigating an apparent murder in the town of Lebanon. Deputies responding to a report of a death around 6 o'clock last night discovered a man's body. They are saying the death is the result of a homicide. One person is in custody on unrelated charges. The suspect in the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting was back in federal court in Pittsburgh this morning. 46-year-old Robert Bowers entered a not guilty plea and requested a jury trial during a brief appearance. He was arrested on 44 counts, including murder and hate crimes. Prosecutors say they will pursue the death penalty for the massacre at the Tree of Life synagogue Saturday that killed 11 people and wounded 6 others. The former CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County is the new CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County.
Michael Johnson is returning to Madison. Eric Franke is in the newsroom with more details on Johnson's return. Eric?
Susan and Mark, Michael Johnson just left town fewer than 4 months ago after 8 years in Madison to take a position running the United Way of Greater Cincinnati. Now, this week it was announced he took a leave of absence from the United Way there. A day later, just last night, both he and the United Way announced he would be stepping down despite the issue being resolved, they said. Johnson had indicated some issues with the board chair of the United Way of Cincinnati. The board chair of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County was thrilled that they hadn't yet hired his replacement.
When he left, that was a tough pill for me to swallow personally. But now that he's coming back, I feel like there are so many, we can get back to the work that we had planned on doing. So for me, this is all coming full circle, and I'm very excited about the work that we can do together.
Mike Santec tells us they had gone through a pretty exhaustive search here for his replacement with over 130 applicants, but she calls it a blessing in disguise. They hadn't found a replacement yet. Interim CEO Rod Mitchell will go back to his job now as Chief Operating Officer with the organization. Regardless of whatever happened in Cincinnati, there's no question Johnson has been a transformative figure here with the club in terms of its growth and profile over 8 years. He'll be back in that old role officially December 15th. Mark and Susan.
All right, Eric Franke in the News Center. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thousands of Google employees across the world walked off the job today. They're demanding more transparency in the company's handling of sexual harassment complaints and an end to forced arbitration, which prevents employees from taking their cases to court. The backlash has been building since the New York Times reported Google quietly protected at least 3 male executives from sexual harassment claims over the last decade, letting 2 of them leave with hefty payouts.
Every person who shows up to work at Google is an equal member of our community and deserves to be respected, protected, and safe at work.
Letting accused executives quietly walk away with buckets full of cash is standard, and it really should not be.
In California, staffers streamed out of Google's Mountain View headquarters. CEO Sundar Pichai has apologized for the company's past actions and says he supports the walkout, but workers want more concrete action.
Well, still to come at 4, we'll find out what's happening this weekend in the 608.
And if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, health officials say the time for waiting is over. We'll find out why they're concerned when Live at 4 continues.
Welcome back. Health officials are urging all Americans over 6 months old to get a flu shot now.
It takes about 2 weeks for the maximum protection to develop, and flu activity is expected to pick up by next month. Last season, nearly 80,000 Americans died from the flu virus. That is the highest number since modern tracking began.
Optimism about trade talks with China extended stocks gains for a third day. The Dow Industrials added 264 points, closing at 25,380. The NASDAQ Composite Index was up 128. The S&P 500 added 28. It's almost the weekend in the 608.
It's almost here, and joining us with a look at what's going on around town, filling in today for Emmy Fink, is Joel Patnod from Madison Magazine. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Fun weekend ahead. We're going to start with a little opera.
Yeah, Madison Opera is presenting a double feature. It's Cavalleria Rusticana and Pagliacci. These are two operas with some of the most famous arias and probably familiar. I know Emmy likes to sing with you, but I'm not.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
We're not doing opera.
We're not doing that. But there's a lot of greatest hits in these.
Yeah, I mean, composed in the 1890s, kind of by a couple Italian one-hit wonders, but definitely something to see. Friday at 8. And then Sunday at 2:30, both at the Overture Center.
And this hasn't been performed in Madison for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a unique opportunity.
All right, we have a timely political production.
Yeah, this was a piece that Madison Theater Guild is staging. It's called The Best Man. It's actually a Gore Vidal play. He wrote in the 1960s. It's set there. Involving two presidential nomination contenders, one an ethical individual, another not so much, but both men, and it's coming out, just in time for the midterms, starting on Friday and Saturday night, and then for the next 3 weekends. So you have several opportunities.
So if you don't have enough politics, go to the theater.
And there's even more to see as well, because a comedian with sort of a political bent is coming to Madison.
Paula Poundstone. She's been around since the 1970s, and she's probably best known for having repeatedly showed up on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. That's the weekly comedy news quiz on National Public Radio. Last year, she put out a book, her second, called The Totally Unscientific Study of the Search for Human Happiness. And to offset that, she has a weekly podcast called Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone. But she has a signature wit, and she'll be at the Overture Center as well on Friday night.
8 o'clock? All right, how about some music?
At High Noon Saloon, you'll find the 5th annual Flannel Fest. And that's maybe somewhat self-descriptive.
Tells you what you're getting into.
Yeah, roots, Americana music, basically Midwestern bands. Headlining is Chicago's Miles Nielsen and the Rustic Hearts. Some of the local bands that will also play that night: Mascot Theory, Beth Killy Band, and the Driveway Thrift Dwellers. So break out your best flannel and show up for what is a fundraiser for the Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund, which is a statewide nonprofit that provides or helps needy residents keep the heat and power on.
Good music for a good cause.
Exactly.
That's good stuff. Okay, now special art exhibit at Overture.
Exactly. This is just prior to Veterans Day. It's opening this Saturday in the Playhouse Gallery. It's called the Veteran Print Project, The Transience of Narrative. Now, this is something that has the result of 10 years of bringing together military veterans and artists to produce works that help civilians better understand conflict, past wars, but also what's happening and still happening in Afghanistan and in Iraq. So it opens this Saturday. The reception is actually on Veterans Day, November 12th. And it will be on display for the rest of the year.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
Diverse weekend, as you say.
It wouldn't be Madison otherwise.
Something for everybody, yeah.
Joel, thank you. Have a great weekend.
And thanks for your help today, by the way,
Absolutely.
too.
Get this month's Madison Magazine for all the best in the Madison area, and we'll be right back. Take a look at this. Ever wonder who takes your Halloween pumpkins off your front porch? Well, this Halloween was a success for this frisky squirrel in Lincoln, Nebraska. Squirrel caught on video by a Ring doorbell checking out some porch pumpkins. Then he grabs one of the small ones.
Busted.
Makes a run for it.
Oh, that's cute.
That is cute. It is Thursday, November 1st. It's National Cook for Your Pet Day. Do you do this?
No, I don't. A lot of people, though, these days are cooking their pets' food to make sure that they're getting a natural diet, but you should always check with your vet before you decide on your pet's menu. You can't just make
have a yellow lab, right?
I do have a yellow lab, and labs eat everything, so I don't have to cook her meals. But
check with the vet because they have lots of menus and stuff that you should.
Absolutely.
Vitamins and things.
Do you cook for the hounds?
I cook for me, and then they eat.
Yeah, they have whatever you're having. It's also National Men Make Dinner Day.
That's me every day.
A day for men to take charge of the kitchen and cook for their loved ones.
It's also National Vinegar Day. This common household product brightens many salads, used in canning, can shine up a window. It's used for medical remedies and treatments, used for gardening, pest control.
It's pretty amazing
the
stuff.
list goes on and
Clean
on.
out the coffee pot.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to use it to clean my carpeting.
Really?
Oh, you're kidding,
I've
really?
like Staymaster. They say just use vinegar and water.
Oh, that's great.
I haven't heard that one before. I've heard the windows. I've heard the carpet.
All purpose.
Clever. I like it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Don't feed it to the pets, though.
No. Separate menu item for the pets. Beautiful day outside if you have to get the windows cleaned real quick. You knock that out maybe before things start getting too chilly. We have a few clouds, just a little cool, crisp in the air. We'll take a closer look at that weekend forecast right after the break.
Life.
October is over. We've wrapped it up, put a ribbon on it, tucked it under the Christmas tree. Overall, though, we had a pretty mellow October. Our first, of course, a little cooler than what we saw for the average. The 31st, though, Halloween, a little warmer for us, a nice end to the month. Just trace amounts of snow we collected. Usually on average, we hit about a ½ inch. And as far as our precip totals, of course, the trend for us so far, not only this year, just in the last few months, we've received quite a bit more rainfall than what we usually receive. Didn't see any breaks, though, in our records. The warmest day for us this month, 81 degrees on the 9th, and then heading back to October 21st was the coldest day, only hitting a low of about 22. So again, right where we should have been. Overall, our rainfall totals for us right now, we are sitting at 3rd place. We still have 2 full more months to go, so we'll see if we're able to climb up any more close to that 2nd place line. Thankfully, nowhere near that 1st place line. But so far this year, again, we've picked up about 46 inches of rain, a little over 46 inches of rain, almost 47 inches. For us today, no rainfall. Barely a mellow start to the day. No traces for rain as we head towards the end of the work week. A few clouds in the sky, though. We are going to stay mostly cloudy as we head overnight. All of the shower well to the southeast. Wisconsin's looking nice and dry for a Thursday for the first day of November. Sitting close to 48 right now in Madison, about 50 in Janesville and in Mineral Point. So a little cool outside, a little crisp in the air. I was just outside without a jacket. I did get some goosebumps, but you may need a jacket through the rest of the evening as our temps, of course, continue to fall. A breeze from the northeast right now, much of the area with a single-digit wind speed, about 10 miles per hour. Madison, it's going to stay nice and calm for us as we head overnight. High pressure keeping us fairly mellow, but we are still seeing cloud coverage for us. That front that brought a little bit of shower activity for us earlier in the week, now well to the southeast. So plan on a mild evening. Same goes for our Friday, but our next weather maker, of course, as always, just off to the west. We are looking at some shower chances as we head towards the weekend. Clouds tonight. Tomorrow we're looking at a variably cloudy sky. Same goes for Friday evening. And then as we head into Saturday, the good news for us, some models are bringing in the slight chance for showers, but right now it really seems like just a slight chance for Saturday morning. Much of the day will stay cloudy, and then the major rain chance will start to come in later on in the evening. Looking over the next several hours, our temps, of course, will drop steadily. We'll continue to see just a light breeze. It's not going to pick up for us at all overnight or even as we head into early tomorrow morning. Temps will be pretty cool as we head into tomorrow morning. Overall, branching out towards the bigger picture as we start to get towards the middle of November. Plan on a pretty average middle of November for us right now. That's what it looks like as far as the temperature trend heading towards the middle and end of November. Not expecting any major jumps or drops. So that's good. We're just going to steadily cool down over the next few weeks. Right now we're looking at a cloudy downtown. No rain right now. If you are getting ready to step out for the evening, should be a pretty smooth evening for us weather-wise. Today we had a high of about 49 degrees. Should have been closer to 52 and quite a drop from what we had yesterday. Yesterday was about 58 for a high for Halloween. Overnight lows, though, close to average. Overall for November, now that we're heading into our second to last month of the year, our rainfall totals for average for the month of November, just over 2¼ of an inch. We usually see over 3½ inches of snow in November. No precip in sight for us as we head towards most of Friday and into Saturday morning. That slight chance in there. We may start to talk about snow mixing in, though, for next week already, believe it or not. The coldest day in November that we've seen, -14 degrees. And we're going to hope that we do not break that record. 32 degrees, our overnight low for tonight. Again, nowhere near that record. 48, so we're looking out for tomorrow, chilly with a variably cloudy sky for our Friday. Heading into the weekend, our temperatures will hold steady for Saturday in the upper 40s. A cool but close to average start to next week, and then a little cooler trend as we head towards the end of next week. Election Day on Tuesday, we'll have some showers in there, and we may see a little bit of a mix, but that'll be late at night, and that trend starting to decrease for us as we're looking at that mixed chance for Tuesday.
We fall back this weekend.
We do, believe it or not.
Gain an hour's sleep.
Yep.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
It is November 1st, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner.
Yeah, Goodman Community Center's Thanksgiving Basket Drive has become a tradition in Madison for the past 30 years, and this year almost 4,000 families have registered to receive a basket. Sam McDaniel is the food pantry coordinator at the Goodman Community Center. Good to see you.
You too.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
4,000 families, is that the most you've had?
It is, yeah. We are approaching, I think we're a little above the number we had last year, which was the biggest that we had, and it just keeps climbing. So it's we're really happy we're able to get the support that we do to help all these families.
For people not familiar with the program, tell us how it works.
Yeah, so basically we are endeavoring to provide all the ingredients for a Thanksgiving meal for a family of 4 to 6 people, including the turkey, dessert, all the veggies and fixins, perishable and non-perishable items. So 2 big bags of food for each family.
And so you collect donations from, and you have a list of the things that you need.
We do, yeah. On our website at goodmancenter.org, we list all the groceries that are needed for it. So we do a lot of it by donation, and then we do some purchasing as well of the non-perishable items. We get vegetables and dinner rolls and butter and ice cream and eggs and things like that, along with the turkeys. The turkey's the big one.
And if people shop at Hy-Vee, there's an opportunity there.
Absolutely. This weekend, we're going to be out there at Hy-Vee on East Washington with volunteers handing out our grocery list and encouraging people to make purchases of those items that they can then drop off right there with us at the store. And Hy-Vee helps get them to the center. It's always the biggest individual donation drop-off that we get each year, thousands of items.
This is such a generous community. And then every year you have a small army of volunteers that help put the bags together. We always participate. It's such a memorable day.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a small army. It's a medium-sized army.
I mean, it really makes you feel good, though, to help your neighbors and friends. And it must just blow you away the way the community responds.
It really does. It's an unbelievable, for us, it's about a 2.5-week run with all the volunteers. And it's the coolest thing that I've ever been involved in. We have about 800 volunteers over that period of time who help do all of this. And it's a really happy place to be. It's a lot of people who come together, like you said, to help other members of the community. And I think one of the things that's really great is that the folks who get the baskets, not only do they get the food, but they come to the center and they see all of these other people who are there in their community who want to help. That's, I think, just as valuable as the Thanksgiving meal.
Oh, yeah. Who can register for the meals? Is there a criteria?
Any resident of Dane County.
There's no criteria?
Other than that, nope.
And if you're watching, you can just load up the things you need and drop them off at the center?
Absolutely, yeah. We're already accepting donations. The big days are in about a week and a half. From the 14th to the 16th, we'll have our gym at the center wide open. You hopefully have seen pictures over the years. We have, giant piles of vegetables and cans. And so that's the big time, but we're already getting donations right now.
Oh, and people can drop stuff off?
They can, yeah.
And what's the address again? 149
Wabisa Street on the east side.
On the east side.
Yep.
And then people come and pick up the groceries when?
On the 17th, 18th, and 19th of November. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we'll have about 1,200 to 1,400 people come through, or families come through each day.
And what a fun time that must be.
It is. It's really great. And I get to wear a turkey suit for some of it, too. So.
That's good. So check out the Goodman Community Center's website for more information about the food drive. It's goodmancommunitycenter.org.
Goodmancenter.org.
Goodmancenter.org.
All right.
Okay.
It's right there on the screen.
All right. Very good.
All right,
good,
Sam.
Good.
Thanks very much.
Great to see you,
Happy
Sam.
Thanksgiving, I guess. Same to you in advance. Still to come at 4, coaches often tell you to power through a workout at the gym.
Well, they take that term literally at a gym in Sacramento.
The members at this gym aren't just energizing their bodies, they're energizing this building. I'm Chris Martinez with how this gym is run on people power.
downtown's taken off, hasn't it?
There's a live look of the Big Apple on this Thursday afternoon. That's a nice shot.
Yeah, it is.
Similar day there today as it is here. A gym in Sacramento, California is harnessing the power of its member workouts.
Those members are helping to power the gym's building using innovative green technology. Chris Martinez shows us how it works.
Press go on your bike so we can calculate how many watts we can generate in a class.
At Sacramento Eco Fitness, gym members aren't just energizing their bodies, they're energizing the building.
Good job.
Workouts here helping power everything from equipment to lights to fans.
Months and months of trial and error, so we had to go through reprogramming.
Gym owner Jose Avina helped wire the system that connects specially designed equipment to the building itself. It starts with machines like this treadmill, which users have to put in motion to turn on.
So the faster they go, then the faster the machine will turn on, and they need to maintain a certain tempo in order to keep the machine going.
Good job. You're generating energy.
Inside every piece of equipment is a microinverter, similar to what's used in wind turbines. It harnesses kinetic energy generated during a workout and converts it to AC power.
That energy that's being produced immediately goes straight into our battery.
The energy stored there is redirected to every electrical outlet in the building.
Get that watt number up.
For gym members, racking up watts has become a part of daily workouts. Monitors show how much they generate, and a monthly competition tracks who created the most power.
More of a challenge to myself. It's pushing it, how hard you can go, how much energy you can produce.
Keep it strong.
A new take on people power, helping create healthier members and a healthier planet. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Sacramento, California.
And the equipment,
cool idea.
Yeah, it is. The equipment isn't the only green energy tools the gym uses. They also have solar panels on the roof.
The owner says thanks to both sources of energy, their electric bill is typically less than $5 a month.
We can get some bikes out here and start generating power for this place. All right, when we come back, the stage is now set for the closing sprint before Election Day.
With 5 days to go, the race for governor could not be any closer. The director of the Marquette Law School poll, Charles Franklin, is here. We'll discuss the latest poll before the midterm when Live at 4 continues.
Still good news over in my corner of the world. Looking at 12 right at Rimrock Road right now. East and westbound looking okay currently. Throughout much of Dane County, we're seeing a lot of green. The belt line starting to slow down just a little bit. Zooming in closer to John Nolan Drive, we're seeing speeds actually just in the last few minutes picking up a little more, but overall still traveling in the 30s for us along, again, eastbound 412. Verona seems to be going okay. Main Street a little backed up, both north and southbound, seeing some delays, but again, no accidents in either direction. Southbound on the Beltline to Janesville will take you just about 28 minutes. From Middleton to Sauk City, closer to 19 minutes, and then downtown to Sun Prairie, about 18 minutes for us. So your drive for your Thursday evening should be fairly smooth. Market, Susan.
All right, Dana, thank you. A little girl photographed while awestruck by a portrait of Michelle Obama dressed as the former First Lady for Halloween. The picture of the little Parker Curry transfixed by the painting went viral earlier this year and charmed the world. When the owner of a children's clothing store saw the picture, she decided to make a matching dress for little Parker. The 3-year-old wore the dress trick-or-treating last night.
Oh, that's priceless.
It is priceless.
So sweet.
Well, 5 days to go until the midterm election, and the race for governor in Wisconsin is a dead heat.
The last Marquette Law School poll before Election Day shows Governor Scott Walker and Tony Evers tied at 47%. The director of the poll, Charles Franklin, is back with us. Hello, Charles.
Hello.
So not only are they tied, but the exact number of voters, I understand.
567 apiece.
Wow.
Have you ever seen
tight.
this?
We've never had an exact tie. We've seen ties on the percentage. And honestly, you know, it's just a fluke that they happen to be exactly the same. But the main point is this race, which has been pretty tight all along in our polling, ends up as close as it literally can get. It's fair to say other polls have shown a little bit of an Evers lead between 2 and 8 points, but we've consistently seen the race tighter.
Are any minds undecided, or this is going to be a matter of turnout?
I think turnout more than anything. People can certainly change their minds in the last week, as we saw in 2016, but we have not seen very many undecideds, and you wouldn't expect that with a guy running for his 3rd term as governor. People have had plenty of time to make up their mind about Governor Walker. And so one part of it is turnout, but it's not just overall turnout. It's the question of who gets their voters to the poll. Right now, Democrats are more enthusiastic than Republicans by about 7 points, and a little bit more likely to say they're sure they're going to vote. That's the reverse of a lot of midterms where Republicans have a bit of an advantage. So it means that where we are right now helps the Democrats a little bit. If overall turnout went up, it would drag in some Republicans who are currently not that enthusiastic about voting, and that would make it a little bit of an advantage to Walker. If we stay where we are, or if turnout falls off a little bit, and some of those reluctant Republicans drop out, then we're in the position of helping the Democrats.
But the key may be that 58% of independents.
58% of independents are really a question of, do they boost up and turn out at, say, 65%? Do they stay where they are? Do they maybe fall off a little bit here in the end? I think those are all the imponderables that we'll find out sometime in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, I think.
Let's take a look at the Senate race. What did it show?
There, we've had a consistent Baldwin lead. She leads by 11 in this poll. It was 10 in the early part of the month. It was 11 back in September. We did have one closer poll in August, right after the primary. But in general, this has been a strong Baldwin show.
The fact that she has a significant lead and the governor's race is so tight, is that evidence that people are splitting the ticket?
There is a little bit of splitting. People find that kind of hard to believe in our polarized world. There are something on the order of 4 to 5% Baldwin Walker voters. And there's less than that, about half that, who are Evers-Vukmir voters. So there's a little bit of an edge there. There's bigger groups on the Democratic side that are voting for both Baldwin and Evers, and a somewhat smaller group of Republican Walker and Vukmir people. But then remember, we have a Libertarian candidate in the governor's race who's getting 3% of the vote right now. So his vote gets distributed in the Senate race and helps Baldwin a little bit. And then finally, there are a handful of undecideds that also might be undecided in one race, but decided in the other.
And a race that often doesn't get a lot of attention, the Attorney General's race, and this is red hot.
This is, and in many ways, this should be a central focus. It's tightened from a 7-point Schemmel lead, the incumbent Attorney General, to a 4-point and now to just a 2-point inside the margin of error. It's also where voters know the least about the candidates. 72% are not familiar with Josh Kaul, the Democratic candidate. I think it's about 45% not familiar with Schemmel. And yet this is maybe the second most important statewide office that we have. We asked about attention to the campaign debates. About half said they had paid no attention to the senator-governor debates, but it was 75% that had not paid any attention to the Attorney General debates. So it's not an accident that we know less about these folks. But that's where in this last week people could find out information about them that might affect their vote in some way.
There's been a lot of ads, especially in the Attorney General's race. I've seen more of them this past week, probably for that very reason.
And a lot of ramping up of late advertising rather than advertising that's been going on all along.
Yeah.
Midterm elections are generally, state and local contests. This is almost a national election.
In many ways it is. We've seen the rise of health coverage as the #1 most important problem here in the state. And that's an issue that certainly is national in scope. Some of the things like K-12 education is maybe a little more specific to our circumstances here, and jobs in the economy is certainly a perennial important issue for people.
But health is #1.
Health is #1, and people who say it's #1 are going over 60% for Evers, over 65% actually. Roads is the interesting one. It's in 4th place as most important, but people who rank roads as the most important problem are splitting 50% for Evers and 47% for Walker. So the roads issue has turned out not to have much of a partisan cut, whereas education, healthcare, and jobs in the economy are very strong predictors of how you're going to vote.
And then, of course, President Trump is sort of the X factor, right?
He is. With his rally, the first night that we were polling, in fact, so most of our data was after that rally, we've seen Republicans in the state since September go from 81% approval of the president to 92% approval of President Trump in this latest poll. So whether that's because of his rally or all the other things that go on with the president, we have seen Republicans embrace him to a degree that's almost unheard of. And that has boosted his overall approval rating, but it's only boosted it with Republicans. Independents are still 14 points more negative about the president than positive, 41 to 55 approval. And independents are this critical swing vote that is giving Evers a modest advantage, about 7 points in the governor's race, but giving Baldwin a much bigger advantage in the Senate race.
It's going to be an interesting
It's going to be quite a night.
Yes.
All right, Charles, thank you. And
thank you.
Thank you for all the polls this past season.
Well, I've done my job this year.
Yes,
now
have.
it's up to the voters. Go out there and vote.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Charles. Great to see you.
Right back with the final check of your forecast. November 1st.
November 1st. We have made it after a rainy October, overall mellow temperature-wise October. Here's what we should technically expect, or average expect, for November. For the first 52 degrees. Today we only hit a high 49, so it was a little chilly to start off the month. But notice the extremes there. The warmest day ever in November, 77. The coldest day, -14. We are hoping to not break those records.
And 3.5 inches of normal?
3.5 inches of snow. Very normal for us to see in November.
Right.
So we'll see what we talk about 30 days from now. We'll find out.
I don't want to know. All right, Dana, thank you. We'll be right back.
In our final touch, a strange visitor to Central Park has New York City all aflutter.
People are flocking to the park to get a look at a mandarin duck that's taken up residence